Hey everyone, it is time for another Remington's Ramblings. Alright, so today I turned 30 years old. It's a milestone. So yeah, I'm 30 now. Never thought it would come, but here it is. Sometimes I don't feel 30, and sometimes I do. When you're a kid, you really look forward to your birthday, because advancement is so wonderful up to a point. I mean, when you're a kid, it's your birthday, it's all about you that day. You get cake, you get ice cream, you get presents. And you're a year older. I mean, a year older means you get more privileges, more stuff. But all the way up until you reach the age of 21, you're all about that advancement. You look forward to your next birthday. You reach 21, and most people, they go out and they get blasted out of their minds drunk. But after that, you're like, okay, so I'm turning 22 now. Hooray! There's nothing else to look forward to, unless some people have like individual goals, like Trust Fund Tommy here will get like $300,000 when he turns 25 or something like that. But for the most part, most people are just like, okay, so I've turned 21. Now what? What reason do I have to look forward to birthdays now? So. When you get to 30, you start saying, okay, which birthdays would really stop coming now? Because, now I can no longer say I'm in my 20s. Yesterday I was able to say I'm in my 20s. I was 29. Now I'm not. Now I'm in my 30s. Freaking A. Everything's just so much more wonderful when you're younger. Case in point, last Thursday, I was at the game store, and to pass time, I wanted to have something to drink, so I go to this corner gas station. I buy myself a soda, and I see this just lying there next to the register. There's a whole display of them. There's pink ones, orange ones, purple ones, blue ones. I grab a green one. What it is it's called a Grab Pop. Green apple flavor. So, like, in here, there's, like, this green apple sucker. But the big thing is the gimmick, There's this grabby claw. You push the button, and this extendy arm comes out and grabs stuff. So, you can pick stuff up and everything and fiddle around with it. But if I was younger, I would have had a lot of fun with this. I mean, you could just go and grab stuff, and you play with this thing for like days, But I saw this. It was an impulse buy. I think it was like $1.50. So I got it, and I fiddle around with it. I bring it home, and the only thing I'm doing with it is this. That's it. I'm fiddling around with it. Occasionally I'll go and I'll pick stuff up, but for the most part, it's just this gimmick thing that you fiddle around. You push the button, you do this for a while, then you say, okay, now what? It's just this grabby claw thing, In 40K, if I played Orcs, this would be awesome, I could put this on like a Def Dread or a truck or something, it could be this really awesome customizing thing, it's an extending grabby claw. But I don't play Orcs, so it's just this thing that now just lies around. Its gimmick, does not really appeal to me all that much. It was just an impulse buy, and that's it. So your perspective changes as you get older, I'm making, these videos, Steve's Toy Box, and I'm putting all this up stuff up for sale. You know, years ago, I never even would have imagined selling this stuff. It was like the furthest thing from my mind. I never would have put that stuff up for sale. But now, I mean, it's not just the separation. It's not just the fact that I haven't seen this stuff for years and so I've distanced myself from it. It's just that, you know, I've simply kind of lost some interest enough to the point where I'm like, you know what? I'd like to clear this stuff out. You know, I would like to, you know, clear some space, but still be able to get something for this stuff and use whatever profits I get to get something else that interests me, which thankfully I've been able to do for these past few months. I've been doing Steve's Toy Box since about the end of December. And for the most part, it has been, you know, mostly successful. So all that stuff that's going up for sale is stuff I never would have imagined selling, but now it's okay. So that's just something that I wanted to discuss right now. Just the fact that, you know, I'm older and my interests have changed. Okay, let's see if I can lighten the mood a bit with something out of the notebook, huh? Well, here's something, blast from the past. Just like this little gimmicky toy. One of the things is toys in cereal boxes. Now, if you're my age or older, you remember, you know, you go to the grocery store and you look at, you know, you go to like the cereal aisle, and the cereal aisle is almost like a toy aisle. There's all this great stuff to eat. It's really awesome cereal, which we'll get to in a little bit. And you know, all these cereal boxes not only have cereal in them, but nearly every single one that is worth their sugar has a toy inside, and it's blazingly displayed on the front of the box. Free inside! You know, people talk about, you know, like, you know, the dinosaur, or, you know, the you know, whatever it is, you know. I don't remember getting dinosaur toys in cereal boxes, but I do remember there being glow-in-the-dark sharks. I remember being the baking soda submarines. Those are always fun. I haven't seen one of those in bloody ages. I would love to get my hands on another one. Puzzles, tops, those poppy thingies. You flip them inside out and put them down on the surface, and they pop up in the air. Especially the ones with, like, you know, the cereal characters on them, Snap, Crackle, Pop. Or, you know, a freaking whistle, or a puzzle, or like one of them had like a book in it, one of those little golden books. Or, you know, just whatever. Now, you know, the cereal aisle is just barren of that stuff. There's cereal and nothing else. If there's ever something displayed on the front of the box, it is always, you know, it's like, hey, you can get this for free, and then there's this asterisk there. Flip it over, look at the bottom of the box, free with 5 UPCs and $5.95 for shipping. So you gotta buy 5 boxes of cereal, cut out the UPCs, send it in with like a check or money order for $5.95, and in 6 to 8 weeks you'll get this, you know. I mean, this thingy here, this speaker that goes on top of the Pringles can, that was one of those things. I remember a few years back I got one of those Pirates of the Caribbean alarm clocks. It's a digital clock that I sent away for, I think for cereal boxes. I bought like 3 boxes of cereal, cut the things out, got a little money order, sent it in. 6 to 8 weeks later I got this thing in, and it was a piece of crap. You know, it had like the Pirates of the Caribbean thing, and then this black box that the thing sat on, you put the batteries into, and the clock, the digital clock, was this little bitty thing about this big. We have, you know, with this crappy, really dim digital display, and you know, it's a crap clock, so it's not going to keep proper time. Damn near impossible to program. Yeah, He was just a piece of junk. Whatever. But, you know, I'm just saying, you know, remember when you were a kid and you would get, like, something awesome like this in a toy box. It's just a little gimmick, but, you know, I mean, you know, you go down, you cereal. So, I really wish that they would bring stuff like that back. But, you know, fat chance of that happening. What is it? Like, the city of San Francisco has banned McDonald's from putting toys in the Happy Meals. It's now, like, you know, against the law for them to do it there because apparently McDonald's is, like, you know, promoting unhealthy eating in children by, like, offering toys in their Happy Meals. Whatever. I think that's BS, but you look at, you know, some of how fat kids are today. You know, I can see it. You know, but before, when you were in school, you know, there was always that one fat kid, and you always made fun of that one fat kid. Well, now it seems like every 1 in 5, or even every 1 in 4 kids is the fat kid. So, you know, you'll have like 5, 6, even, you know, 8 or even 10 fat kids in class, you know. When I was in high school, there was this one guy that was so fat, he couldn't even fit in the freaking chair. You know those chairs where, like, the little table desk kind of thing attached to it? He was so fat, he couldn't even fit in there. They had to get him a separate table, like a table and a separate chair for him to, like, sit in at, like, the back of class, just so he could sit there and do schoolwork, because he was so freaking fat. You gotta imagine, how does someone get like that, you know? I mean, the mere act of having to walk to and from school, you know, should burn off enough calories. I mean, and you were required to go to PE. It wasn't an elective until, you know, like, you know, after you had taken it for 2 years straight. Then it was an elective. Before then, it was required. You were going to PE. So, I don't know how crap like that happens, but it happened. Cereal. Let's talk about cereal for a bit. Now, you know, you got really awesome stuff like Cocoa Pebbles, Fruity Pebbles, Fruit Loops, Lucky Charms, Captain Crunch, you know, Apple Jacks, all that stuff. I never got any of that when I was a kid. To me, that was called a special cereal. You know, that was what we called it. We go to the grocery store, go into the cereal aisle. Hey, Mom, can we get a special cereal? No. No, you cannot get a special cereal. Money was tight, so my mom got store brand stuff. But, you know, even store brands back then, they had, you know, store brand Fruit Loops. I mean, nowadays, there's store brand everything. Store brand Fruit Loops, store brand Lucky Charms, store brand Cocoa Pebbles. You know, not back then. Back then, I mean, typically you had, you know, store brand Fruit Loops, which I guess they call Fruitios or Fruit Rings or whatever it was they called them. Then they had, like, store brand Cheerios, store brand Corn Flakes, store brand Rice Krispies. And they all tasted absolutely horrible. And my mom got those and only those. So we had the horrible tasting Corn Flakes, the horrible tasting Cheerios, and the not so horrible but still very much bland Rice Krispies. So I never really ever got special cereal. That was one of the things I didn't get to have when I was a kid. Once in a blue moon, we got that stuff. Like, my dad would buy me, like, a box of cereal for my birthday. Yeah, imagine that. You got a box of cereal for your birthday. Or box of cereal for Christmas. Or, you know, like, you know, an aunt or uncle coming over and they get you this. You know, or, you know, you get one of those little box free sample things in the mail. Or something like that, you know. But other than that, it was the same old nasty cereal. And I kept saying, this stuff tasted like compressed dust. Like someone had swept the floor in this factory and got all this dust and dumped it into a machine. The machine, like, compressed it down into the shape of a Cheerio, and ka-chunk, it went out onto like a conveyor belt, and all these compressed dust Cheerios went down this conveyor belt and fell into a box, which they then sealed up, shipped to the store, and my mom bought and brought home, and we had to eat. So, yeah, my mom was always worried about cavities and all that stuff, which, you know, she had a very valid reason for worrying about, but still, I mean, having like a regular box of cereal, you know, once or twice a month would have been nice, but it was not to be. Anyhows, I just remember how horrible that cereal was, and it really would hit home when I would have friends come over and spend the night. You know, yeah, friends go over and spend the night. It's really awesome. You get to stay up late. You get to talk about whatever. You know, you have someone to play with. You're playing with, you know, Ninja Turtles, not just by yourself or with someone else or whatever. And then, you know, the morning after, you know, you get up and you go into the kitchen. You have cereal. At anyone's house, this will be a normal occurrence, but at my house, it was almost like a horror story. You know, they would say like, "Okay, what kind of cereal do you have?" I would say, "We have cornflakes. We have Cheerios." And, you know, they would look at them, yeah, and like they weren't in the box. My mom had like these plastic cereal cases. You know, you dump the cereal in there, and then you seal it up. You flip open the top, you can dump some out, flip it back closed. So, you know, you would never see the box. You'd see this plastic case. They would pull it out, look at it, rattle it and everything. They would open it up, reach in, take some out, put it in their mouth, and eat it, and you just saw the look on their face of utter disgust, because they're just not used to eating this crap. So they're like, "Do you have anything else?" I'm like, "Nope, that's it." So, you know, they see me going and getting a bowl. I pour, you know, some cereal in there, and thankfully we had sugar. We had lots of sugar because my mom did a lot of baking back then. So, you know, there's this big container of sugar, and I would get, you know, I get a spoon, and I would get just a little spoonful and sprinkle a bit of sugar on there, and, you know, that was how I got through that cereal. These people, these kids that were spending the night, dumped the cereal into the bowl, and they would get the spoon, and they would go then pour on the milk, mix it all up so that they could be able to barely stand eating it. You know, they would choke it down. They'd be able to choke it down because they had put on 3 or 4 heaping spoonfuls of sugar. That was what really hit home, you know, to me for, you know, how horrible that stuff really was when you compare it to what people normally ate. Well, we are at about 18 minutes in. I'm not going to try to fill up the remaining 2 minutes. So anyways, I will leave you with that thought of being older, losing interest, toys and cereal boxes, and just cereal in general. So if anyone can relate to anything I've talked about, you can go ahead and leave a comment down in the description below. And that's all I have here this time. I am signing out.